Cool. All right, guys. We're back with episode two. Technically episode three. We lost one of my best episodes I ever shot with the big homie Vinny Scotto. I messed up while we're talking about. Let me make sure. Yeah, we're recording. I messed up and we didn't record the entire episode. So really bummed out about that. It was an awesome episode. We're gonna try it again, but we got one of the greatest guys in the game right now, my man Lonnie. If you don't know Lonnie, we're gonna let you know who he is right here. How are you, brother, man?
I'm doing good, man. I will have to say though that October 2023, I removed myself from the game when I officially retired from coaching.
Oh shit.
Um, and for those that you have never felt this before, Jay, it's like a pallet of bricks being lifted off your.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I
No,
had it was time for me to hang it up as a coach, but I'm still pretty involved in the community, especially with
super
people like
involved
you.
in the community. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean you're we're gonna get into all the hats that you wear still in the sport for sure. But I do understand what you're saying. I had kind of a tentative plan to be out at 45, which would be that would be this year actually.
Oh, you're
Um
1980, baby. Me too.
yeah, man. Obviously, we're not doing that. I know I at least got another 5 years in me. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough if you're doing all the stuff too, I think. You know what I mean? Like, I think if I was just a coach, I would be super happy. But you never know. Grass is always greener. Maybe I'd be like, man, I wish I did this or that. So it's
Yeah,
hard to
man. I
say.
mean, this this sport needs it, right? As much as I needed to remove myself from it, I realized that this sport doesn't exist without coaches. This sport doesn't exist without athletes and people that are striving to compete in local tournaments, fight
Mm.
nights, regional tournaments, and ultimately the world stage as well. Like this, it just dies and it becomes
Yeah.
something that it was never intended to be. So we need you.
Yeah, well, we need everybody. We need you too, you know? We need the fighters, we need the shows. I think sometimes that's the I think sometimes that's the thing that's lost. I think everyone not everyone, but a lot of people kind of get this pecking order in their head that doesn't really exist, because without each other, no matter what, no matter who you pull out of the equation, like something doesn't work. So we definitely all need each other for sure.
For sure, buddy.
So for those of you who don't know, how did you originally get started in well, I would say more you started off in traditional martial arts as well, correct?
I did, man. I started in 1990. Damn.
Ooh, I got you
Um,
beat. I got you beat by a few years, but that's awesome.
damn. Yeah, started in traditional Taekwondo in 1990, in the Dragon Gym, and then
Mhm.
I eventually, my partner and I, we purchased it from our teacher in 2006 and grew it, and started doing a bunch of different stuff. But in like 2004, 2005, I didn't really have like a teacher anymore. So I was one of my really good buddies from high school was training down in the city with his brother-in-law, named Adriel Cartagena, at a place called Body Arts. So I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey man, I'm really interested in learning something new." It wasn't really that I wanted to learn Muay Thai. I just wanted to learn. I wanted to
Yeah.
learn from someone and be a student. So I would travel down to Body Arts 2, 3 times a week, which from the suburbs, was a good hour ride for me. And I just started to cut my teeth in this art in the beginning of 2006, and just I really fell in love with it, man. I fell in love with the culture of the art. I
Mm.
fell in love with the it's such a visceral art. It's so beautiful in its violence. And it just, man, the community was so small and welcoming. And it was just really, man, it was meant to be. And I've been involved in the art ever since, just sort of trying to be a student, learn more about coaching. I'm doing the USA Muay Thai referee course this year just to really, understand a little bit more about, the scoring system and
Hmm.
it's how it's evolving, how it's different from fight nights to tournaments to entertainment Muay Thai to world stage Muay Thai. So, and then, once you toss in one and all the other or RWS, just to really like understand more about what it is that I was doing and what we're going to do more in the future.
Hell yeah. So what made you transition into purchasing Dragon Gym?
I was a student. I started working at the gym when I was 20, and my first job was I was just like doing maintenance. I was cleaning. I would help out with kids' classes, and then through the years figured out that it was something I was really good at and something more importantly, really enjoyed. And my instructor was my teacher was on his way out. He spent half of his time in Korea and half of his time here, and
Mm.
he really was he wanted to retire, and it seemed at the right time for me and Sam to purchase it. So Sam and I would have meetings in the back room, and he was at University of Pennsylvania, and then eventually got a really good engineering job with a large corporation. But he and I spoke about it for a while. And it's like, I think we can really make this thing special. The time seems right for Grandmaster Go. Let's try it. Let's make him an offer.
Yeah.
So we had a meeting with him, and we made him an offer, and we were not prepared for him to say yes.
Oh
And
shit.
he was like, okay. And then like Sam and I look at each other, we're like, oh shit, like what next? What do we
We
do
got to do
next?
this now.
We didn't have any money. We didn't have anything. We just had passion, and we had history with him. And that's we figured it out from there. And ironically enough, we took ownership in 2007, and then end of 2007, 2008 was the housing crisis, and the
Mm.
gym just tanked. And
Oh,
people's discretionary income was the first thing that they had to pull, and
yeah.
kids martial arts did not fit the criteria. So we came into this with
Damn.
a lot of you know resistance from the market. So, but we persevered through and did that. Went through COVID, and everything's moving along pretty well now.
Yeah, you went through two like epic
Yeah, it was pretty fun.
hardships. That's tough, brother. Yeah, I'm still still reeling from COVID in, different ways. Financially we're doing we're doing good. Obviously can always be better, but like mentally that took a toll on me for sure.
Yeah,
That was
yeah, a
a,
lot of people.
everybody. Not I'm not like I'm special, but yeah, I can't imagine doing something like that twice, and I know that had to have felt like that again. That sucked.
Yeah. I took a lot of we're biased. So the lens that I see everything through in life is through martial arts,
Hmm.
through that lens of martial arts. And I would always tell my athletes when they were competing, I don't care what happened in round one. Like that data's for me
Hmm.
as the coach. I want you to go out and adjust. So like if if you lose round one as an athlete, you can't give up in round two, right? You
Yeah.
have an opportunity,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
then you lose round two. Let's say you lost round one and round two, like you can still win in round three,
Right.
right? The rules might not be in your favor, but there's other ways to win. And it's never about what happens to you. To me, it was always about what I do next.
Mm.
And I have a daughter, so a lot of my energy and a lot of my efforts and attitude goes to show her the way that you're supposed to act in
Hmm.
adversity. So when things got tough, I was like, well, I got eyes on me.
Yeah.
I got my students' eyes on me. I have families that I employ that rely on me, but really it was, my daughter's going to be watching what I do, and it's a time to really rise. And I think it created a lot of opportunity in the industry because a lot of gyms shut down. But it really hurt um, the Muay Thai community because people weren't able to compete.
Yeah.
And you know what happens when athletes go that long without actually competing. It was like that set the fight game back a couple years.
Yeah. Big time.
You guys noticed it. I know how active you guys are.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't even know what to do with myself. I
I know,
literally
man.
like was just anxious all day, that entire period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just anxious, just trying to find ways to like, um, fill that mental void. Actually, and social media made it worse for me. Because everyone's just talking about the same shit. So I was like, I can't go. I didn't want to go on Instagram. I didn't want to go on Facebook, and I actually um, got into YouTube more during that time, and really like fell in love with YouTube because I started finding some videos that made me happy for whatever reason at the time, and then there was usually that was usually from a channel. So I was like, oh damn, there's a whole bunch of videos, and then
Yeah.
kind of went down that YouTube rabbit hole. So I give YouTube a lot of credit for getting me through that time. It was tough. Which
We
is
all
why a
have
lot of
something
people
we're
ask me,
leaning
they're
on.
like, man, why do you, a lot, and I am gonna put the audios on, Spotify and all that stuff. That's like in the next few weeks, I'll start moving stuff over to there too. But yeah, I have a love for YouTube now, so I'm like, I'm gonna always try to film these and make sure that they go on there because you never know. Somebody might be going through something and randomly catch one of these and be like, man, that helped me out. So I think that'd be kind of cool, you know?
Listen, man, you and our boy Shane, right? I mean, Shane, I
Yeah.
remember I talking to Shane Faison from Fight Tips, and Shane and I talk quite a bit, and he would have people reach out, that were training in a gym
Mm.
that weren't able to, and they connected with Fight Tips, and they would send him messages of, what a beacon of light, no pun intended with that word.
I caught you.
uh
Yeah.
what a beacon that was for them to be able to have a resource, to have someone like Shane, because when
Mhm.
Shane does his videos, man, he comes through that camera
He
like
does.
it's
Yeah.
like he's got such a personality. And I love, by the way, I love Philly Shane, right? Like, I don't know, like when he really started, like the rubber met the road in Fight Tips is when he was out in LA.
Yeah.
But when Shane moved back to Philly, like, and he's a Philly kid, I don't know if a lot of people know that, but like
Yeah.
his accent came back. He got a little bit of grit in his attitude, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Started speaking his mind. But
Yeah.
he would get messages all the time of how that was like saving people, it was really
Yeah.
giving them something to lean on. It's amazing, man.
No, I
That's why
mean,
we do what we do.
I have people in my gym in Maryland that are like, the first thing that I saw of Muay Thai was Fight Tips. So
Yeah. Yep.
that's fucking awesome.
Isn't
You
that
know
cool,
what I
man?
mean?
Isn't
It's
that
super
cool?
cool. Um, so and then when did you guys start having multiple locations? Because you guys have multiple locations with Dragon, right?
We do. We have four locations. We just moved one of our locations to a bigger facility, but we started expanding. We had this idea in 2013, 2014 that we wanted to expand outwardly from the gym. And we really didn't do much with it. And then once we decided that we were going to do something, it moved really, really fast. We found a location in 2016 in Berwyn, which is about 12 miles away from our headquarter location, and found a spot, negotiated a lease. We had no idea what we were doing, and opened it up, and it was a hit. We opened
Okay.
up another one. In our third one that we opened up was in October of 2019. So
Oh
in
wow.
March of 2020, that John was an infant. You know what I mean? And so we weren't even 6 months into this thing being open, and COVID shut us down. But man, that community really, they stuck on, and they really rallied. And then we opened up our fourth location in Phoenixville in 2022. So that was about 2 years ago, two and a
Yeah.
half years ago. We're sitting at four. We're pretty good. Last year we expanded the first satellite location that we opened up to a bigger facility,
Okay.
and now we're really focusing on internal growth, and really developing the staff, giving those guys careers. And man, it's a really neat thing to be able to do. It's a lot of hats to wear, a
Yeah.
lot of balls to keep in the air, but we have a system, we have a flow, and it works really, really well.
That's awesome. And
We gotta
how
get we
how
gotta get
far
you on number
apart are
two,
they?
dude. So my first location that we opened up is 12 miles away from my
Okay.
HQ. And then we did the demographics and realized that there was an area inside. We're like, all right, 12 miles away, that's far enough. We won't cannibalize.
Mhm.
And we realized that there was this like circle in the middle. And we're like, I think if we put a gym like right in the middle, meaning 6 miles from HQ and
Yeah.
6 miles from the Berwyn spot, that'll be okay. And that was the Malvern spot that we opened up like 3 months before COVID, and it works, man. It doesn't cannibalize. It pulls the from a totally different area that doesn't overlap with any of the other spots, and it's close enough to be a convenience for people that if they want to train at multiple locations, they can.
Mm.
And then my Phoenixville spot's about 12 miles
Okay.
in the other direction. So I have three gyms effectively on the same road,
Damn.
6 miles away from one another.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's
super
pretty cool.
cool. Yeah.
Works. Yeah, it works.
That's really awesome. And then like student base so is the bulk of yours still like youth like taekwondo, or is there a blend of everything? Like
Yeah, so our youth program it's disguised as a traditional Taekwondo program. We have all of the uniform,
mhm.
the the bookending of classes, the culture in the class, but we with our experience in Muay Thai is in the curriculum. With we have a years of experience in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. That's in the curriculum as well.
Mm.
And so the kids are getting a very well-rounded martial art, but
Yeah.
the belting system and all that. And then in our adult program, we have standalone programs. So you can train in just Taekwondo, you can train in just Muay Thai, you can train in just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And then we have a strength conditioning area as well. So we do have those areas of hyper focus on the art, which are, traditional.
Yeah.
Uh, so it gives people options. There's a lot of uh sort of like linear selling too. Like if Taekwondo is not for you as an adult, we have jujitsu. If jujitsu is not for you as an adult, we have Thai boxing. And so it's a neat place. It's kind of one of a kind in our area. We've been doing it for a really, really long time, and now start to see that model pop up all over the place. It's pretty neat
Yeah.
to see the
Something
influence.
for something for everyone, people trying
Yeah,
to
man.
copy.
Yeah, that's all right. You can copy.
Yeah, yeah. Can't
You know what I
can't
mean?
can't replicate, but you can try to
Yeah,
copy. No, I
that's
get
all right.
that.
Rising tide lifts all boats, man. I need everybody to be good.
For sure. No, and I sometimes I miss having a jujitsu program here because it felt like a good net for us. Um, I think for the most part, obviously we're gonna get people that are just coming in to do it for fun. That's the majority of the people. But we do actually get a lot of people that like look us up and are like, oh man, like they compete and they do this and that, and like we actually get people coming in that want to do that, that actually are interested in competition, like when they walk through the door, which
Yeah,
is really interesting. It's I spent years at another gym, 5 years helping build Crazy 88, and another gym called Ivy League. I was like the Muay Thai coach when Ivy League opened. I came on board with Crazy 88 after I think they'd been around for like 4 or 5 years, but they had no Muay Thai program. So I was, with them through all the thing. And you rarely had people call for Muay Thai. Now, obviously, that was 2008
yeah.
to
No one knew it.
2012. So it was like, you know what I mean? It was more like, what is Muay Thai? And it's like, oh, it's like kickboxing, which made you be like, because and then
Yep.
I love kickboxing, but it's like it's different, but
Right.
you had to give them something to reference to. But we actually get people calling for Muay Thai. But anyways, long story short, while we had the jujitsu program, sometimes people come in and they think that Muay Thai is going to be for them. But it's a tough sport, like there's to do it, you got to have that a little bit of that fire in you to really get in there and get hit and get kicked and kneed and thrown around and all that stuff. And it's not for everyone, which doesn't, it's just not for everyone.
Right.
Not everything's not. I don't want to do sambo. You know what I mean? I don't want to get thrown
Right.
on my head and kick. You know what I mean? Yeah, that doesn't mean anything about me, but it was nice having that net for people to be like, well, I'll try jujitsu. And then a lot of times, if they didn't like Muay Thai, they liked jujitsu and they were still part of the
Right.
team and stuff like that. So it was cool having that as like as a net. To bring people in. Sometimes people will come in wanting to do jujitsu and they ended up doing Muay Thai, that kind of thing too. So yeah,
Yeah, a lot of people do jujitsu. That's definitely the highest barrier to entry, right?
yeah,
I think jujitsu is by far has the highest threshold because you're like rolling around on the ground
hmm
with people, and culturally, Americans like we typically have more distance
yeah,
between us
yeah,
in standard conversation and daily culture than they do, in Brazil. Like I'm married to a
mhm.
Brazilian, and the first couple of times I went down there, I'm like, why is everybody standing so
Yeah,
close to
yeah.
me all the
Back
time?
up, man. 40 inch.
Europeans as well. So like, I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's something that this industry overlooks a lot is that like proximity is not normal for Americans. Like you
Mm.
ever you ever shake someone's hand and then stay right in the area in which you shook their hand. They're always
Yeah.
like, they start to back away a little
Yeah,
bit.
back up, bro.
So when they come in for jujitsu, they're like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Don't worry. I know that maybe you weren't, you know, up to speed on what it is that you were doing, but you know, would you have to do the clapper there to get your
Yeah.
lights on?"
Fucking bullshit.
Um,
Yeah.
but we have Muay Thai, we have
Right.
kickboxing, right?
Yeah.
You can do that, and that's okay, and that's typically like that's a good little like cross sell to people if it's too much for them, you know?
Yeah. I've been trying to find a taekwondo instructor for our kids program for since I've started this damn place. Like that's like my
Yeah,
dream is to have because that's what I grew up in too. I started in taekwondo in 1986. Uh and competed, got my black belt, did all that. I actually have a clip coming out tomorrow, a little bit about Kevin Holland's talking about MVP, and I've been saying how it's cool, kind of cool lately to see this transition because there was a time, especially when I know even just when I first started Muay Thai, so within like the last, 10, 15 years or whatever, when people would be like, he's a TKD guy, and would kind of like dismiss it. And it's
right,
different now that people are like, oh, he's a TKD guy. Like it used to be like, don't worry about it. And now it's kind of
right.
like, well, you better watch out because he's got some extra shit that he's gonna mix in there. And I'm like, yeah, that's right. You respect it. You know
Well,
what
I
I mean?
think people that you and Corley were talking about, I watched your podcast with Corley the other day, and you asked him his Mount Rushmore,
Yeah.
and I'm pretty sure that every single one of them was trained by a guy named Master Toddy. And
Hmm.
what most people in this country don't know is that Master Toddy was a Taekwondo guy.
Yes, sir.
He was not a Muay Thai guy,
At
and
all.
he brought the systems. And I'm not saying one way or the other
Yeah.
that every martial art has its holes.
Hmm.
Taekwondo definitely has its holes when you get
Yeah.
close. Like, what are you going to do? So, you have the ability to train these people in a particular way, and he took those people from the ground up and made them world champions that now
Yeah.
people are edifying as the golden age of Muay Thai in the United
Yeah.
States, and quite frankly, like, up until now, our most accomplished athletes that we've ever produced.
Right.
And
Yeah.
an,
Global
an,
superstars. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
and another guy that I think, the reason that you and I met and we have a relationship was because of Coach K, Kieran,
Mhm.
out at CSA. And he'll tell you to this day that some of the baddest dudes he's ever met in his life, I believe they were from Jamaica. It was
Mhm.
like the Jamaican national Taekwondo team.
Damn.
We'll have to ask him about that next time. But
Yeah.
he's saying they're just, yeah, man, it's like, and listen, it's changed. It's become much more commercialized than it used to be.
Yeah.
Its rule set has changed to not allow too much violence. But, you know, that's just the human condition. That's not a condition of the art itself. And
Absolutely.
I think that people sometimes need to separate the two.
Yeah. 100%. No, I think any like if I say, well, all right, well, let me hit you with a spinning back kick to the body, like most people are like, hell no. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right,
right.
well, don't sleep on
Yep.
it then.
Vitor Belfort, Luke Rockhold, baby.
Yeah, man. Oh my
Yep.
gosh. Yeah, I have one of my kids, you'll see him in at the Grand Nationals, Trey, who is a taekwondo. Somehow they find me. It's like I'm telling you, it's like the universe. Like I get all the and it's like it makes sense because when they come in, I know when I first started doing Muay Thai, I was I would sneak some side kicks in every now and then to like back people up because I was getting my ass kicked because I just wasn't good at it yet. And I was so used to, like you said, I always felt more comfortable if I had a little bit of distance. And when people were trying to crash in, I would use a side kick. And my coach was like, that's not Muay Thai. And it used to piss me off. And I kind of felt like back then, uh, well, whatever. But what's funny is now as time goes by, uh, I find myself sometimes having to do the same thing to my students too, where I'm like, I'm not trying to take it away from you, but if you're already good at it, then like work on your teep, work on your push kick, work on
Yeah.
checking kicks. You know what I mean? Like you got to make sure that you're like I still try to make sure that they're not discounting and leaving out the Muay Thai techniques because that's obviously super important too. So, but
Well,
at the same
it's
time, we're
also
definitely trying to incorporate all that stuff in as well.
yeah, and I think it's important to this is where we fall short is understanding the rules as a whole in the country, where there's a very big part of the rules in IFMA where they want to see Muay Thai,
Yes,
right? They
sir.
want to see the movement of Muay Thai, the rhythm of Muay Thai, the
Mm-hmm.
balance of it. And it's a key component in the judging and the scoring. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, listen, those side kicks works and they can cause damage. I think one of Damian Trainer's best techniques that he ever does is with his lead leg,
Mm-hmm.
and he slides his back leg in and he turns
Just in
his
just a
teeth
little bit.
foot just a
Yep.
touch, and I'm like, he's like, oh, it says tape, and I'm like, that's a side kick
That's a
with your
sidekick.
front
Yeah.
leg,
Yeah. No,
right?
I have all my southpaws do that, and that's something that when I switch southpaw, if I use my lead leg, I always show them to turn that foot in so you can get a better bite on it because sometimes if it's upright, you'll slide off. When you get all sweaty and stuff. So
Yeah,
initially, I would have them turn it in that way just to make sure that they got a good bite on the teep. And then it's funny, you know how it is. Like you'll show stuff to people for years. Like I said, I that was just something that I started doing to be sneaky since my coach was like watching me to make sure I didn't side kick. I would just turn that foot in on my teep so I was getting a little bit of both, and now that's how Taiwan Chai teeps. So now everyone's like, "Yeah, I got to work on my Taiwan Chai." I'm like, "Man, shut your ass
you're
up!"
like, dude, I've been saying this shit for 2 years, 3 years to you.
Taiwan Chai teep, get that shit out of here,
Yeah,
you
remember I
know?
taught you that. Look, I have it in
Yeah,
my notes. I taught you
yeah.
October
And
2022.
that's the funniest thing, man. But I always say you get frustrated with it when you're early on in coaching, but then as it goes on, you're like, whatever makes the information get in, I'll just feed it at this point. You know what I mean?
That's right, man. You know how to do it.
But yeah,
Manage your
so that's it's
expectations.
funny that you mentioned Coach K because that literally in my thing that was like my next thing on my list was the coaches clinic because that's where we initially met. I met some of my literal like best friends at that first coaches clinic back in what was that 20?
2012 was the first year, I believe. 20
Holy shit! No, it
No,
couldn't
no,
have been 2012.
2012 was the first year that I went there, but it wasn't the coaches clinic.
First coaches clinic
I
was like 2014,
think it was 2013.
2013.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 2013 because I was out there the year before. He had like a big workshop with Mark, with
Yeah,
Joe, Romy, Miriam, Kevin, and I went out there. It was like I think that was the first CSA location,
yeah,
and then I'm pretty sure it was 2013. So it
yeah,
was the first year because yeah, I'm almost certain, but I could be off a year
yeah.
or so.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, that thing
it's
was
definitely
that.
around because I know we opened the gym in 2013. I feel like it might have been 2014, but either way, it was definitely right in that era.
Yeah,
He brought a lot of like, all the I think almost everybody that was there then has gone on to be pretty successful as coaches, and then we all got to meet you and have been fortunate in that aspect because you've been super helpful, with all our management and stuff like that too. So, uh, yeah, and then you've done some blocks and stuff like that there too. So for those of you that haven't been to the coaches clinic, basically, Carrion from CSA brings in some of the best trainers in the world, and some fighters as well too. I think the coolest thing about it is a lot of times people go to seminars with fighters and they'll show you a little bit about what they do, but fighters aren't always the best coaches. And Kieran always does a really good job of bringing in people who can add stuff to your game. And not just in the fighting. He's like I said, he's had Lonnie come in and do blocks on how to manage your gym and training your staff and stuff like that too. So, talk a little bit about the coaches clinic from your perspective.
man, it was really neat. I started Thai boxing in 2006. I started, and I really started getting into coaching a number of years after that. And I didn't have any resources. And I remember like one of the first times I ever cornered an athlete that I had trained from the ground up. Like I didn't know what to do in the back.
Mm,
I only remembered from when I did some here and there, and then like watching guys do stuff. I wasn't really sure of the rules. I wasn't sure about how to wrap hands. Am I allowed to wrap them? Should I tape them? What do I do in between rounds? And it was like no one really ever had an educational course on teaching coaches how to coach.
Yeah.
Um, and I think Kieran saw that hole, and him being one of the most influential coaches in American history, hands down, um, and having the resources that he had, he put that thing together. And it wasn't just let's just do a whole bunch of seminars because
Mhm.
you get some guys coming in and you're just like, hey, here's what I like to do in fights. Here's what I like to do in fights. And although that's really neat and fun for people to do because you get to train with this person you've been watching, get to take a picture, rub elbows, and develop a relationship, there really wasn't anything that meaningful to people as coaches. Like, how do I do this? And when Kieran started doing, like, I remember one of the first times that he sat us down. He goes, okay, here's what I want you to do in the back. I want you to make sure they're wrapped. Like I think it was like 10 fights. If they're on the first part of the card, I'm wrapping as soon as I get to the venue.
Mhm.
If they're fight number 5, I'm wrapping before fight number 1. If they're fight number 10, I'm like, holy shit. Like this is so clear and so concise. And then once you get into the ring, here's what I want you to do and say in between round 1 and round 2.
Mhm.
And it was so efficient and it was so easy to digest that I fundamentally like he deserves a lot of credit for the arc that USA Muay Thai has had
Oh
over the
yeah.
last 15 years. I think that a lot of it has to do with, people having more access to information
Mhm.
online, having more experience in fighting because you figure shit out. But I think people often overlook the amount that he has contributed to the quality of athlete and the quality of coaching that he doesn't actually directly uh, control. And that's through
Mhm.
his coaches clinics that he does every year. And it's also brought this community a lot closer together. Like you said, you know, we've all become friends
Yeah.
over the last 15 years and we've developed some really, really meaningful relationships. And I think that now, the next generation of coaches should be far better than us
Yeah.
because of what what
Absolutely.
what Coach K did, but then also it's our responsibility to develop them as well. And I think it was monumental. I think it has a lot more to do with the quality of fighter and coach and United States Muay Thai in general.
Mhm.
Uh, how well received we're being around the world is has a lot to do with that, man.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. I always give him his flowers. I have so much love for him. When I opened Level Up in 2013, I was coming from a situation where I'd been part of a team from what 2006 I joined Team Lloyd Irvin, and then 2008 I started teaching at Ivy League, which was one of the affiliates, and then a couple months after that started teaching at Crazy 88. So I'd been part of that. I'd been part of that team from 2006 all the way to 2013 or 2012. No, 2013. Yeah, so all the way to 2013. So what is that, like 7 years or something?
Hmm.
Shaped me. I traveled, went to Jiu-Jitsu Worlds to film. Saw the highest level of competition in Jiu-Jitsu. Was out for Dominic Cruz's second fight with Uriah Faber when he was training for the UFC championship, and got to train in that camp. I had a boxing fight, so they were beating up on me a little bit out there while I was in Alliance
That's
in San
cool.
Diego. So I got to see some really high level stuff. And anyways, that when I left, and I'm at some point I'm gonna do a video just about the whole story of that situation because it's a really crazy story, and I think people would be like, "Damn, that's kind of fucked up." But when I left initially, I hadn't didn't plan on like separating myself from the team. It was just kind of like there was some shady shit that went down on somebody else's behalf, and it had nothing to do with me in my opinion. But regardless of that, I was basically just out on my own all of a sudden. And I felt like I had a pretty strong grasp of what to do, mostly from either things I learned the hard way fighting, or learned the hard way coaching. Not and because I was the pioneer Muay Thai coach for those two teams too, so I had to learn stuff the hard way from making mistakes and things like that as well. So by the time I got to level up, I felt like I was pretty on top of everything. Um, but Coach K definitely became a mentor for me, and where I'd had this team to kind of like lean back on before all this time. If I wasn't sure about something, I didn't have that anymore. And he definitely, filled that void and had my back and, you know, recommended us for things and reposted stuff of us and shouted us out. And, people from the gym was, wearing level up shirts and stuff like that. I mean, they gave us a lot of love for such a young Jim. And I always have so much love for him for all the support and even without it, like you said, for everything that he's done for the sport, I would always have been a fan anyway.
Yeah,
Like you
listen, I
said, I don't
think
think
we
everyone realizes all the stuff that he's done for the game.
no, no, and I think quite frankly that's our responsibility to let people know.
I
He's
agree.
the last guy, right?
Yep.
Anytime you see one of his fighters win, he goes behind him.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to show his face. He doesn't want to take that credit,
Mm-hmm.
but he deserves it. And I think this is it's indicative of like, okay, he's really leveled up coaches in this community. And it's just proof that we all need someone to help us.
Yeah.
And it's such the martial arts industry in itself is like you have to be resourceful and have resolve and grit, but you also need to know when to ask for help when you're not sure when to do something. And it's a very difficult thing to do for people, whether it's on the fighting end, whether it's the management end, or whether it's on business acumen. And I think that there's there's a lot to be said about having a mentor. If you look at guys like Tony Robbins, I mean, he had Jim Rohn, right? So he
Yeah.
had a guy that was coaching him. These people aren't like touched by the hand of God and they have all the information in their
Right.
head. And quite frankly, if you're always learning the hard way your whole life, it's it takes so much time to figure out the right way.
Yeah.
And we say this a lot. There's the only thing in life you can't get back is time. You can damage relationships, you can burn money, you can destroy your credit, you can do all these things, and all of those things can be repaired and replaced, except your time. And it's like how quickly can we get to success, right? If it took the generation before us 10 years to figure something out, well, I should be able to sort of swipe and deploy some of that knowledge and have it take me half the time, and then so on and so on and so on until we're figuring out or solving for new problems eventually. But yeah, man, I've used him so much in my life, and he's been a huge resource for me. I remember not like I went to a world tournament and I had mentioned something. And I'm like, I always cared, especially when I was a younger coach, what my peers thought of me.
Mhm.
And oh, Lonnie's a Taekwondo guy. He's only been doing Muay Thai for 4 or 5 years, and he's coaching, he's fighting. And I remember one of the first fights I ever had was at WKA, and I look and Phil Nurse jumps over the rope into the ring, and I'm like, this is who I'm coaching against, fucking Phil Nurse. And I was like,
Yeah.
I can't do this, and we won,
Yeah.
right?
Oh
And it was
shit.
it was it was
Yeah.
good kickboxing, and we won that match.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, like
I
this is
know
how
some
it's always
shit.
been done.
Yeah.
Like we can do it. We
Yeah.
can do it. And
Yeah.
I think people get that inferiority complex a little bit and a little
Yeah.
imposter syndrome, but who the hell hasn't?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. No, even I think just standing like talking about martial arts and I like the martial arts aspect of it has always been really important to me, because that's all it's been a part of my life since I was 6. I've coasted in and out for years at a time, but for the most part I've always found myself back in it. And such a big part of that is lineage, so like once I got on my own, it was like I had no lineage and I felt like a Ronin, like I was just out in the wilderness with my sword all by myself. So yeah, I felt like he kind of scooped me up and made me one of his samurai, and that meant a lot to me for sure. So
Yeah.
appreciate you, Coach K. You
You could
always
be a Ronin with that hairdo now,
Yeah,
bro.
I'm ready to
Let
rock,
the
baby. I got my
let
sword up there. I got multiple
let that
swords.
John
Man, I'm ready
flap
to
in the
go.
wind.
You know what I'm saying? That John was ready to go.
That's my. Do you say you're allowed
Yes,
to use
sir.
that word, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm
Well done,
close
sir.
enough to PA, right?
You're all right. Yeah,
Uh,
you're all right.
talk to me about MTAG.
So my partner Sam and I, we over COVID, we really found um a system that dug us out of that hole. We lost about 60% of our business. And we really like that's really when we like, trimmed a lot of fat and really focused in on systems and what's important to us. And we found a great deal of success in that. Um, I started having calls with friends during COVID, and we would sort of it turned from commiserating with each other, like, holy what the hell's happening? How do
Yeah.
we save this to like and we started having a great deal of success in our gym pulling out of it. And it went from like this commiserating to like, hey guys, listen to this, do this. In that group was Adam Malahan, Tom from Norway, Leo from Forza, um, Alex and Nushian from Warrior Family, and I don't think I'm missing it. And Jordan from Washington,
That's an ATT gym, right?
Oregon. Yeah, he's now
Yeah.
Daruma Combat Sports,
Right.
but and it went from like that to like every time now that we were on this call, I was telling them all the stuff that we were doing in our academy that was making really big, pulling really big levers. So I was like, okay, we have something here. And we started this thing and we called it the Muay Thai Advisory Group. And it's an underserved um, portion of the martial arts industry. And I always feel like I always say this, like when if you think of an avatar of like a Taekwondo dude, in my head, it's like a dude in a suit, right? He's got a nice watch on, probably wearing white sneakers, but he's well put together, right?
Yeah.
The jujitsu guy is like, and this isn't, unequivocally true, but in my head, jujitsu guy's got a pair of board shorts on. He's like, hey, poha, and it's a little bit more laid back culture. And then in Muay Thai, it's like this punk, like um, you know, drifter, Ronin type of thing, like you said. And it was a lot of people in Muay Thai were struggling because not a lot of folks were paying attention to this industry. They are now, thankfully. And, we get this skill of learning how to do Thai boxing and how to communicate it to people and how to teach people how to do the sport of it. But then we're never really taught on any of the stuff that allows us to sustain that as a lifestyle.
Mm,
How do we negotiate leases? How do we, what type of insurance do we need? What type of coverage? How do I pay myself? What do I do when I have profit? How do I hire staff and scale this thing? And that when toward the end of my coaching career, it's like really what we started to focus in on so that we could scale our company. And we've had a lot of success. And I'm like, look, this is something that I fundamentally believe that one of the things that's holding back Muay Thai in this country is um, the success of the company. So
yeah.
could you imagine if, every Muay Thai gym didn't have to do, fundraisers and pull out of the owner's pocket to
Hmm.
support fighters and people are scraping by and barely making bills and when they go away for a week they come back and now they're doing catch up because everything went to hell while they were gone.
Yeah.
If we improve the health of the business, it only makes everything else easier.
Mm,
Is it going to make a better athlete? I don't know, but it's definitely going to make the pain of like being removed from your company and draining it of its resources if the health of the business is better. So that was really like the overarching concept of this is like, let's just help people create a better business, to have a better lifestyle, to take some stress off of them, make some money and you know, be able to at least have some freedom in their life. Because I always ask gym owners this when I do like a interview with them, and I don't let everybody in the MTAG because I like to keep it really small.
mhm.
I was like, when's the last time you were home for dinner on a Tuesday night with your family? And
Yeah.
the answer, hands down, is always, I don't remember.
Yeah.
And we're sacrificing so much of ourselves and our life and robbing the people that need us most, which is our family, of us. And, we can change that. And it's not that it's simple, not easy type of
Yeah.
thing to do. But really, that's, what we do in MTAG is we do, a call a week, and we're talking about the three big rocks in your business. People have challenges. We work through them. Everything that we teach the academies in MTAG, and you've been in them, you've been in the group,
Hmm.
is stuff that we do. None of this is like hypothesis or conjecture. It's all just like, hey guys, we raise prices in our academy. Here's how we did it. You can use this form letter. Here's how you communicate it to your people. Here's how you determine what your price should be. Swipe and deploy, go do it. And the people that are in the group are having an immense amount of success. And that to me is like, man, when someone comes to you, like, and anybody that's listening to this, if you're a coach and the skill that you gave someone, it made a monumental shift in their life. Like we've all had the guy or the gal come up and be like, hey, coach, and I've been training here for like 2 years. I never told you this, but I was in a really bad, shitty relationship. I was abusing substances. I was in a really deep, dark place in my life. And you are the reason that I'm out of it. You are the reason that I took this step to change my life. You're the reason that I feel better about myself. Like I am who I am in part because of you and this place. Like, dude, there's no amount of money that you can give someone that's going to give them that feeling.
Yeah.
Hands down. That's it. And, that's the same thing that I get from folks that are in MTAG. It's like, I've been doing this for so long. I haven't really figured it out. I've been stressed pulling my goddamn hair out for years. And
Yeah.
all I did was like what you told me to do. And I quit my day job. And now I'm making like real money in this thing. And I'm serving my athletes better. Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
I'm fucking getting emotional talking about this
No,
shit.
that's the dream, man.
Sorry to drop that bomb.
Yeah, that's the
Sorry,
dream.
mom.
Yeah.
So
No, it's
really, it's
awesome.
just
It's
it's
awesome
just to
what you
help.
guys do for sure.
Thanks, brother. It's just to help this community, man. It's given so much to me. I want to give back. And quite frankly, to be open, it's low cost, but it's a for-profit company. Like, they're paying to be a part of it. I think you should, because
Yeah.
anything that there's not an exchange of money, there's no value. But that's one way to give back. And and then also my time with the organization with USA Muay Thai.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And uh it is a very it is a very awesome group, and I was lucky to be a part of it through last year. I had a really rough 2024. Lost my mom, lost my cat I had for 15 years.
Feel you.
Just yeah, I mean, anything bad you can think of that could happen for the most part happened. And then outside of that, though, the one thing that I was doing good at was we just had a really good competition year. So
Yeah, you did.
I had we had a good run last year, so it wasn't all
Find a light.
bad. But yeah, and I we're right in the middle of selling my mom's house and buying. Aaron and I are trying to buy our first house right now too, which is
Good for you,
cool.
brother.
Uh, so all yeah, we got a couple little things coming back on, and then if you guys will have me, I definitely want to get back in the group because that was awesome, and I mean I need the help. So I think
I know a
anybody
guy,
that
brother.
gets a opportunity to be a part of MTAG, I can't recommend it more. I mean, if you guys are watching this now, you can't tell just from listening to Lonnie that he knows his shit and he's gonna be a great guide. Then you're not paying attention. And then Sam is like a fucking
Dude,
just guru,
he's the
man. He's incredible. So.
he's the man behind the curtain, ain't he?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just dope. I he gave me a little tip. One of the things we were talking about was ads and trying to get my ads up. And one of the things he had recommended, you guys both recommended, was um going back to YouTube, was you know get the YouTube videos out, and um that ranks helps you rank higher on Google and stuff like that without giving too much away. especially if you my competitors are watching. I ain't gonna tell you all shit. Y'all gotta join the MTAG. But yeah, that's been and it's fun. It's something I actually enjoy doing as well too. We take a lot of stuff that I post to Instagram and then get it up on YouTube for the shorts and the regular videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I learned a lot in that time, and I'm excited to get back part of the group. And you guys haven't do you do the in person
Yeah, those are
events as
cool,
well too?
man.
So you got what the next one is in April? Is that what it
Yeah, we're
is?
gonna do it the end of April. So we do, this is pretty cool, man. Like I think this is just stuff for Sam and I to do for fun, but we do two events per year, always in person. One is typically like just for MTAG members. So like we keep it very, very, small and intimate. And then we do another one that is sort of open to the public. And anybody that's in our MTAG group, we don't charge them for these events. They come, like we
Mm,
feed you. All you got to do is get here and stay. Um, but we'll have people from outside of MTAG come and we do 2 full days, but like we always do something experiential. So one time we took everybody to a shooting range. Another time we did it at the boxing club in San Diego, and we took everybody to the USS Midway for a private tour of the aircraft carrier. So
that's sick.
always something to do just off topic. We
Yeah,
always have to be coach hat, owner hat. Let's go do something cool.
create some
This time I'm
memories.
working on something really freaking awesome for this event in Westchester. So it's just a neat time to bring the community together. It's small. We always break bread with one another and just forge relationships. So we'll do it. I think it's April 25th and 26th, and it's in look up downtown Westchester, bro.
Yeah,
And by the way, I want you to come.
I
Like
would love to
on
be
me,
there. Yeah, if you'll
on
have me, I
me.
would love to be there.
Put it on your calendar. I don't think there's any fights then, but
No,
knowing you, you'll probably fill it with fights.
no,
But
I'm about to look right now.
yeah, it's the 25th and 26th. And I keep it under 30 people. I don't like these things to go big. We could do them much bigger, but
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I like small groups, dude. Especially I only want to do this with people that we know, we like, and we trust.
yeah.
You
No,
know? And
everyone that's been in the groups of that you guys have done are all the homies. So
they're all the homies, dude. That's right.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, absolutely. And then I don't
It's
want to keep you too much longer because I know you probably got to get, but I do want to talk about USA Muay Thai a little bit too. So how did you get involved with USA Muay Thai?
yeah, man. I was looking for some. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, I don't know how the hell this happened, but I went out to Colorado for the 2022 or 2023
Mm,
Grand Nationals. I don't remember which year it was. I think it was 23. And I was like, "Hey, I'm here to volunteer." And they're like, "Okay." So I was like, "All right, I'm gonna do the merch table." So I was just like, I just hammered merch,
yeah.
and I just sold as much merch as I could, and I'm like slinging stuff. And I went to out to dinner with them, and I'm like, "Hey, look, I like you guys, like Corley, Vinny, Mama Dez, and Marcy um, are just amazing freaking people.
Hmm.
And when I saw what they do for this organization at the expense of a lot of things in their life, not a lot of people know this, but USA Muay Thai is a 501(c)(3). It's a nonprofit, and no one makes money off of these events. And,
Hmm.
and I don't know if I should say this or not, but like you look at any of those guys that are running USA Muay Thai, I guarantee you every single event they put $0 in their pocket and probably it costs them money. They're
Yeah.
not doing this for the money. They're doing this because they have this righteousness inside of them to make Muay Thai in this country better every single year. Coaches development, athlete development, and feeding that IFMA system. It is so once I saw sort of through the veil of what they were doing and who they were, I'm like, I need to be a part of this thing. And I don't know, I think we were like a couple drinks in, and Corley's like, "You're gonna be our new chief development officer," and I was like, "Yeah." And then I woke up the next morning, I'm like, "Shit, what did I
Oh,
do?"
what I get into?
Yeah. And so man, I ran with it, and it's just I've been really learning a lot more about this sport, about the organization of it, about the Olympic hopes that we have
Hmm.
and all the work that these guys do. I got to go with Coach Danny Brandt, Tierra Brandt, and Aaron Ortiz to Paris
Yeah.
in June or July. And that was just, I mean, I can't tell you what it's like to be inside of the Olympics. Listen, we were not a medaled sport, but we were what's called showcase sport.
Yeah.
And it was inside of, I don't know if you like the Olympic Village, each country has a different house,
Right.
right, that you can go to, and there's like all kinds of stuff. So we were in Club France, which is where our event was, and there was like, I don't know how many tens of thousands of people in this joint, but like walking around the freaking Olympics in Team USA Muay Thai gear, I
Yeah.
can't tell you, like, there's very few moments in my life that I was that proud. People chanting USA as you're walking by and their accents from Azerbaijan or
Yeah.
Uruguay, wherever they're from. Hey, USA, good to see you,
Yeah.
Bro, the camaraderie, the stature of that event was amazing. And it looks like we'll most likely do it again in 2028 in LA,
Oh, that's sick.
um, God willing. And I really, man, these people are really fascinating, and there's nothing like it. And it's the highest level competition in the United
Mhm.
States. And I'm super, super excited. A lot of work to do, but really excited for a Grand National Tournament this March, which I
Yeah.
know you'll be at.
Oh yeah. I don't miss a fight.
Hell yeah, buddy. Yeah.
At my own expense, I'll be at a fight for
My
sure.
man, yeah, and
Uh
listen, not a lot of people know why we do it in the places that we do it. Everything state to state in the United States is different. Some boxing commissions allow third party sanctioning, some boxing commissions don't. Shit, some places don't have a boxing commission.
yeah.
Um, Delaware is one of those places that allows people to operate freely,
Hmm.
which is why you see a lot of tournaments in Delaware. It's
Yep.
also why you see a lot of fights and stuff on Indian reservations or in Colorado, Delaware, and Louisiana is allowing it now as well. I believe that may just be a stipulation for USA Muay Thai. I'm not sure, but I'm going to be working with a couple different states over the next year to allow that to open up a little bit more, just
Nice.
so that we can have a little bit more freedom with where we hold it. But Wilmington is incredibly convenient. It's only like 25 minutes south of Philly International Airport, and it's an easy place to get to.
You got no complaints out of me.
Word, we got the DMV representing.
Yeah, absolutely. I kind of went off on the East Coast Muay Thai last year because I felt like the turnout could have been a little stronger, and hoping that we see it this year. No one on my team, except for Gary. Gary's fighting on Warriors Cup on February 21st, but he's doing it. He'll be there.
That's cool.
My whole team, anyone that wanted to fight in the first quarter of this year, I was like, we're doing Grand Nationals. Like
Yeah,
that's what we're
listen, man. I
doing.
mean, if you enter in the elite division and you win that division, you get a spot on Team USA. And
Hmm.
Corley said it earlier. It's the only Team USA that's edified by the USOPC,
Hmm.
and you get to go to IFMA, which I think this year it's in Cappadocia in Turkey. If you guys have ever
Hmm.
seen those hot air balloon festivals in Turkey, it's in that city. And these are hands down the best athletes in the world. The countries that absolutely run the gamut on Muay Thai in the world are Russia, um, Ukraine, I believe
Belarus,
that, yeah, Belarus. The Belarusians are savages. They're
Sweden.
they're the Swedes, right? The Canadians are absolute savages. They're sending their absolute best athletes to this event. So when you
Turkey
go to
too.
IFMA, Turkey's legit, dude.
Turkey's super good.
When if you get to IFMA and you medal or you win, like, you are hands down world champion. So
Hmm.
if anybody here thinking about that, that's a dream, whether you're a youth, under 23 athlete, or an adult elite. Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, you know, our thing here, we want to be one of the best gyms in the world. I train our fighters to do that. We take the hard fights. We're fighting people that have more experience. The ultimate goal eventually is to turn pro and to fight on shows like One, fight in RWS and stuff like that. And the absolute bottom line truth is, you at some point as a pro, you're gonna fight somebody that has 30, 40 more fights than you. So if that's a
Yep.
problem, like you're in the wrong game for sure. And I try to make sure that our fighters are starting that off as amateurs. Now we start doing it as early as possible and just getting used to, taking those hard fights. And IFMA's always been part of the formula in theory. And we
Hmm.
had Aaron went and fought in 2017 and got the
That was in
silver
Belarus,
medal.
wasn't it?
Yeah, that was in Belarus. Yep. And that was when I know now they're starting to creep back in. We had a couple of years where, Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus were all out, and those are three of
Hmm.
the teams that were, the toughest to beat. Russia was always,
Yeah.
top of the podium in the most out of everyone. So now they're starting to creep back in. It looks like too. So
Yep.
that competition level is going to continue to elevate. But it's been really cool to see the even just in the short amount of time in 2017 when we went, we brought back two silver medals, and that was like massive. You know what I mean?
Badass, dude. Yep.
And now people are winning golds and world games, and it's been really cool to see the jump up and everything.
Yeah.
So
Well, World
um,
Games is this year as well. So that's
yeah,
going to be I think it's in Chengdu, China.
China, right? Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not sure when it's going to be, but it's going to be another opportunity for some USA athletes as well. So
yeah.
put that one on the radar.
No, I got to get some. That's it. That where you obviously didn't make it this one. So the next World Games, that's my next goal. So we haven't gotten someone to the World Games yet, but I got some killers coming. I got Trey Thorne coming this year.
Hell yeah,
He's
brother.
doing elite. I got one of my young kids, Ian, who's gonna come do the youth elite, and so another kid, Siraj, is doing youth elite. So I got a couple of elites. I got Gary. Obviously, he's gonna be in the elite, and then some other people in the novice divisions that are going to try to work their way up. So
Stoked to
um,
see you, brother.
now, and last thing before I know you probably got to get running. Volunteers for the tournament.
Yeah, man. So we are 100% volunteer for this. It's going to be in downtown Wilmington. So I'm putting together a team of volunteers from my academies, and then I'm soliciting some of Coach Charlie Catone's guys from Eight Limbs.
Mhm.
So we'll have a good core group, but like anybody that is able to, if you're in driving distance, I don't expect you guys to fly in to volunteer, but if you're flying in for a teammate or to support a coach, we could use some volunteers, and we're looking at things like gear runners,
Mhm.
timers, the seconds out guy, um, and ticket sales and a myriad of other things. So, like I said, I'm going to be getting really cool staff shirts for everybody. So you'll get a piece of USA Muay Thai swag if you do volunteer. But you guys can reach out directly to me if volunteering is something that you guys would like to do. Here's the other cool thing. It gets you in there, like a little access, like little all access. You get to sort of peek behind the curtain. We might be doing some type of internship as well for volunteers. So if anybody's interested, please reach out to me directly on Instagram.
Okay, yeah, and I'll put that stuff down in the description as well too, so people
Cool.
can see. And as far as registering website, where do they go?
Yep. So USA Muay Thai sport. There's the registrations on there. Also, if you're a gym owner, register your gym. It's I believe it's $100 or something, $140 for the year. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But you get a really cool banner. It says 2024 or 2025 gym member. Registering your coaches. There's going to be all kinds of courses that we're going to be filming for continued education. But I believe that we only have 30 days left to register.
Yep.
So the brackets are filling. There are quite a few athletes registered, and that will close in 30 days. So if this is something that people are thinking about, let's go. Dreams don't
And
wait.
the last thing that I was gonna say, we talked about it with Vinny, and I was really pissed at that we lost this because I wanted to clip it and put it out there. But one thing I want to remind people too, if you're looking at a bracket and there's nobody in it, be the first person to sign up. Don't
Do it,
wait and
man.
think that like, oh, no one else is gonna sign up because the bracket's empty. If the first person to sign up, the other people are gonna. So everyone's thinking the same thing. So that's one of the things I really think is important for people to understand. If you look at a bracket and you don't see anybody in there, be the first one to jump in and get the ball rolling, because other people will sign up when they see that someone's in there for sure.
Oh yeah, man.
Well, thank you,
Jay, I
brother. I
appreciate you,
really
bro.
appreciate your time, and I'll be in touch, and we'll talk soon again for sure. Thank you so much.
Let's do it, homie. Thank you all. Appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, my brother.
Cheers.
Peace.